Welcome to this very special bonus episode of the Purple Rain podcast. The entire Purple Tree is here today. And we're finally getting around now to doing our very special episode. We're going to be looking back on the Takeover Tour. Which, of course, has been a huge success for the PWHL. This is going to be the highlight of the year for the PWHL. So, what we wanted to do is we wanted to watch all the replays of all 9 stops. And then pick some highlights from each of those games and talk about them on the show. Yeah. So that's why it's taken a bit long. I know the tour finished back in the end of March, and we released this was literally end of the season. But it took a lot of time because we wanted to watch. Because obviously we only got to watch all of our Frost Takeover Tour games. The others we didn't get to see in full. So we thought we can't talk about highlights if we've not watched the games now. So we thought we'll watch the replays of all 9 stops, and then. Plus, I couldn't watch the ours in Raleigh and Detroit live. No, so that for you is an opportunity for you to check those out. Yeah. So we've been last couple of weeks. Also the Tracks of Tramps as well. So me and Nate been following that. So we've been spending the last couple of weeks, watching the replays of the games, and so we can get our thoughts in. And that. So it's going to be just short little moments. We're going to do some little. I'm going to show you some photos from the league talk from each game. To sort of lead into the segment, and then I think each one will be like maybe like 5 to 6 minutes each. It's not that long. We're just going to pick highlights from each of the games, so they won't be so it'll be little short moments on that as a whole. So we're really excited for it. This is a huge moment for the PWHL. It's absolutely brilliant. So I might quickly. The PWHL made 9 stops in neutral site markets. Seattle, Vancouver, Denver, Quebec City, Edmonton, Buffalo, Raleigh, Detroit, and St. Louis. Yeah. Over there. From January the 5th to March the 29th. Yeah. So what it is, we're going to look back on each one. We're going to pick some highlights. Each of us going to pick highlights. As a whole, so we're really looking forward to it. So
sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
Okay, so our first stop was Seattle on January the 5th at Clyde Pledge Arena. The Montreal Victoire and the Boston Fleet were in attendance in this game. A 3-2 shootout win for the Boston Fleet. The Boston Fleet opened the PWHL Takeover Tour with a thrilling 3-2 shootout win over the Montreal Victoire in front of a season-high crowd of 12,608 at Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena. So that's a really great start there for the Takeover Tour in terms of attendance, I think, for me. And you guys got to a great game. I mean, what a way to start the Takeover Tour. How about it's a shootout? Yeah. But Boston always likes to make the most of these neutral site games. This is what I love about the Fleet. They always like to make the most of the neutral site games. It's very rare that little Boston gets to go on a neutral site game. It's very rare it's a snooze fest or it's a bit of a dull. Boston seems to be able to understand that the assignment comes to games. We're going out on the road to market. Doesn't have PWHL hockey. We gotta make the most of it. We gotta make people want more, want to be excited and want to get involved a bit more, even if they haven't got a team. Yeah. So, what are the highlights for you guys from that one? I think it has to be the way that Boston came back. I mean, how, you know, the Victoire, they were the first time, okay, they were dominant, yeah. And it was interesting how it looked like they were going to take a stranglehold of this game. They've been doing really well so far, and they got to it. And yet Boston found a way back. Yep. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think the shootout for me, that's the highlight. Yeah, how literally Boston, who started off slowly, but when they in the shootout, that's when they cover at their best. It's like, and you know, it was always like momentum had shifted. So Montreal had it all in the in regulation, well, for the most parts of regulation, and then it shifted in when you got to say the overtime period. That's when it kind of shifted more into Boston's favor. Yeah, absolutely. And Boston got 3 goals in that shootout, with Blinker Tapani accounting for 2 of them. Oh, they were definitely highlight girls. Yeah. But, yeah. And battle net miners, I think, as well. Because obviously Montreal had Anne Desbiens in. And Boston had Franco, who to her side 3 of Montreal's 4 shoot attempts to secure her 3rd win of the season there. Did this game happen like literally just long after we saw Boston in Minnesota? I think it was. It was a quick turn. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. I think. I think a few days before we met them in our first win of 2025, and then they want to take a tour. So not long of a turnaround for Boston there from Minnesota to Seattle. But of course, it'll be good practice next season. Yeah, because chances are that's what a lot of teams might have to do. You'll probably come to us, then you'll either go Vancouver, and then Seattle, or it'll be then you go to Seattle, Vancouver. Yeah, well, don't put mention that. Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of air miles next year. Yeah, and a really decent crowd. I mean, it was 12,608. Yeah, believe it was there. A really decent slow crowd. I mean, Clyde Arena, it can host up to roughly 17,000. So even though when you look at all the attendance results on this tour as a whole, that puts them like say middle of the pack. It's actually to get 95% capacity, not bad, especially as this was the first stop of the tour. Yeah. So because we didn't know how this is going to be well received, but I think what this first stop in that situation is it setting the tone for what you're going to see going forward in this tour. Yeah, and that it was going to be really heavily well attended. It was just great to see the fans make it out, and we really underestimated Seattle's enthusiasm for a PHL team. We really did. We just didn't see it coming, but great for Seattle's start. A great start for the tour. Yep. Really great start.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
Okay, so our second stop on the tour was Vancouver. Rogers Arena? Yeah. I always get confused with Vancouver and Edmonton with which one's arena, which one's place, but this was arena. Yeah. January the 8th, Montreal Big Swan, Toronto Raptors, and it was the 4-2 win for the Big John of Montreal. So the Montreal Big Swan came out on top in the second game of the PWHL Takeover Tour with a 4-2 win over the Toronto Raptors in front of a season-high 19,038 fans. A sold-out Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Now, are there any other highlights apart from Captain Clutch? No. Wrap this segment up. There you go. That's your highlight. That's your highlight. That's your highlight right there. Captain Clutch got 2 goals to go with the other 2 goals she got in Vancouver, which apparently Vancouver's council men don't remember. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Please say you got any other highlights from that game, or was it just Marie-Philippe Poulain? Montreal's net riding? Okay, but apart from that, anything else you want to put out, or was it really just that? Well, can I just say? Yeah, go on. I think the pressure had to be on to her to get at least on the score sheet in this one. Given how this is where it started for her. And those Vancouver games in 2010. God, doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago now, boys and girls? Yeah. Doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago? Yeah. Yeah, just yeah, and so yeah, so you'd be hoping that she would have gotten on the score sheet. And the fact she got 2 goals. Both of them are kind of review, really. One of them was an empty netter. Yeah, so I think the first of those 2 goals was, I think, the better one than the second one. But the second one was an empty netter, so really, yeah. I think for me, outside of Montreal, the highlight has got to be the attendance here. I'll read that again for you guys. 19,038 packed Rogers Arena on what was a weeknight. It was a Wednesday. And they packed up. And we can confirm to you, now that the NHL season is done in the books this year, we can confirm to you that that was more than any of the home games the Vancouver Canucks had this season. So, Vancouver, you were a team so bad, you made sure to pack out that arena and made your voice heard, and you became the first expansion team to be announced in the PWHL. And I think this Takeover Tour game, that was the point when us were kind of being, okay, maybe Vancouver should be in the conversation when it comes to expansion. Maybe you need to start thinking, well, is it time to start the West Coast approach? And of course the answer was yes. Yes, it was. And in quite a big way. I mean, that is just so amazing. I mean, this league, obviously, is still very young. It's only in a couple of markets. And yet, you've got 19,038 people going to Vancouver to see a game between a Montreal team and a Toronto team. That is just that just shows that there is interest for this league outside of the Inaugural 6 markets, well, what is now technically the league's 8 markets, but of course, right now the foundation is only being laid for Seattle Vancover, so yeah, but we'll so that for me was just amazing, you know, the fact that okay, there is definitely interest outside the Inaugural 6. It's just need to take these teams to those markets and we'll see it for ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. As well as it is any Toronto highlights I want to point out, or is it just going to be all Montreal? Darryl Watts got a power play goal for Toronto, less than a minute after Poulain's tally. Yeah. So that's a hard effort for Toronto. So it was pretty much all Montreal. It's interesting how Toronto did go for a fight back, because I think that same season Toronto was really struggling. Yeah. They were struggling to get points on the board. So the fact they did try to make a comeback, that is something to highlight, but it was all pilling. I don't really say anymore. Yeah, it's all pilling. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when Captain Clutch sides on like that, you think, well, is there really a highlights reel? Apart from what the crowd did. Yeah. And that's really just about it, I'm afraid. Yeah. Yeah. The crowd in a way, the crowd kind of took over the story here, and it was more of what the crowd was able to do compared to what the players on the ice were able to do. So yeah, so anyway, the crowd kind of stole the show, but that was just so impressive, and it didn't get beat. Yeah, it did not get beat. So brilliant work from Vancouver there.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
So the third stop of the tour was in Denver. Just a few days after Vancouver it was. Yeah, January the 12th. Yeah, January the 12th. At Ball Arena in Denver. Our Minnesota Frost finally get some neutral site hockey. And we would take on Le Victoire de Montreal. And the Minnesota Frost took over first place in the standings with a 4-2 win over the Montreal Victoire in the third game of the PWHL Takeover Tour, before a record-setting crowd of 14,018 at Ball Arena in Denver. Now, for me, I think one of the highlights straight away comes before the game even started, and that was how you had Nicole Hensley go and do the ceremonial puck drop instead of being captain Kendall Coyne-Schofield. Yeah. Now that's very rare for a netminder to get to do the ceremonial puck drop. Yeah. It normally is the captain, or in the case of the captain being out for whatever reason, it's the alternate captain. Yeah. That's normally how it works. But given the fact that Nicole Hensley was a Colorado native, it kind of made sense, especially how injury meant that she was not going to be able to play in this game, which I think was a huge shame, because I kind of think if she wasn't injured, she would have got this game. No, she would have got it. With absolute. Because what I think is interesting about Takeover Tour is how each team, if they've got somebody from that market, they put them on the starting lineup. Yeah, and I think that's brilliant. So I think she would have got the start had it not been for injury. But Maddie really did brilliant. Oh, she did brilliant. Well, they're both brilliant. Yeah, they're both brilliant. That's what you got. That's what you get when you have a really, you have a really great tandem. You can just find either one. It's just, yeah, brilliant. Yeah. But I just think, yeah. That's brilliant. Can I just say another big highlight? And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that was Sophie Deck's first point since she came back from injury. Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. I believe she had 4 goals. Yeah. Yeah, that was, because Sophie Deck had just come back from injury. Yeah, that was her first points from 6 point back. Yeah, she's back on the point. On the score sheet with points. Yeah, that for me was definitely one of my highlights, because it's always so important that when players come back from injury, you want to make sure they're able to find their groove back quickly, especially in a very short season like this. Yeah, whether it's 24, 30 games, yeah. There's no time to mull about. We've got to make sure these players are back, put them back in the lineup, so yeah. So I thought for me that was such a huge highlight, because she was a player miss, so it's great to have her back. Yeah. And I think what's interesting about this game is how it was such a close affair. Like, the lead kept trading. Yeah. At various points. So you could tell that this was a top-of-the-table clash. But it was the time, wasn't it? Yeah, I think at the time it was Montreal in the top two. Yeah, in the top 2 spots. It was kind of a top of the table clash, as they say here in Dear Old Blighty, a top of the table clash. Yeah, and of course the Frosted Takeover first place afterwards. The also things of a highlight for me, I'm going first the crowd again, is after the game, I saw on social media that someone had mentioned how there was also an NFL game going on at the exact same time. Yeah, so the fact that we got 14,000 was like, oh my god, because obviously, I don't like football. I've only watched one Super Bowl, and that was this year's. And there's a video on my channel about that, so we don't need to explain it now. We're stretched for time as it is. So obviously, not much. I don't think even the Avalanche would be able to outsell AFL. No. So the fact that we got 14,000 people, and it was a new record for women's hockey in the US, that is just brilliant. I was like, that is just brilliant. And I think we do believe Denver could be a future hot spot for the future. Yeah, because there has been interest from Avalanche fans. Because we did notice last season some Avalanche jerseys in the stands. Yes, we did, yeah. So I think Denver could be a perfect candidate for expansion in the next round. And I think we might push Denver. Because I think we need... Well, it's great we've got two West Coast teams that come in. They're both Pacific, where we need for Minnesota, we need another two Central teams. Yeah. So Denver, I think we will probably push in the next expansion round. Yeah. Given how now all hats are off. Yeah. Now we've got that. Now we've got the Pacific Northwest expansion already set up. That's great, because that means in future expansions, we can just throw anybody in the mix and it'll be fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, that is just another highlight there. And of course, this is our first taste of neutral site hockey. The other teams last year got to have neutral site hockey, whereas we didn't. No, we did not. No, so this is our first one, and it's a win. Yay! It was a hard-fought win. But we did get the win. Yeah, we did get the win. So that was a great first win in Minnesota Frost's first ever neutral site game, which is really.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
So the fourth stop was in Quebec City at the Videotron Center on January the 19th. Yeah, January the 19th. Final one for the Victoire de Montreal. Maybe they did the first 4 stops on the Takeover Tour. I know, right? Crazy. They did the first 4 stops. This time they saw the Ottawa Charge, and it was a 2-1 win for Montreal. So the Montreal Victoire moved into sole possession of first place in the PHL standings after securing a 2-1 win over the Ottawa Charge in front of a sold-out crowd of 18,259 at Videotron Centre in the 4th game of the PHL Takeover Tour. Okay, what are the highlights here for this one, if any stand out for you guys? Well, in these close encounters, it's really hard to pick a highlight, especially when it's a regulation. Shall I try first? Go on, I'll give you more time. Catherine Dubois. Oh. Quebec native. Getting a goal. Just so that thing is obviously, and she opened the scoring. Yeah, that's a huge moment. I think that's a huge highlight, when a Quebec native, especially how Quebec, you're not having opportunities to have these. Yeah. So I think brilliant. It was brilliant. That's a good highlight. Yeah. They put the Quebec natives out on the starting lineup, so I think for me that is probably going to be the highlight. Are you really struggling with this one? It was a 2-1 regulation win. I know. If it was like Boston was in Seattle, it was a shootout Friday, I could probably try and stretch it further, but when you have those close affairs, then what do you expect to highlight? Netminding! Netminding was a highlight, you know, because obviously you had 2 huge netminders literally making huge saves for those respective teams to keep it that close to the game. I mean, easily it could have gone to overtime. You kind of felt when it was getting towards the end of that stage, it kind of felt like that next goal win Matazzi. Yeah. Yeah. So I think for me, netminding, that is the highlight, and it was tied 1-1, and then Montreal retook the lead, and they never really looked back from that. Yeah. So you had Erin Smashmeyer in the net for Ottawa. She didn't do a bunch. She got 33 of 35 saves, while over the other end, Desbienne got her 6th win in 8 starts for the Victoire, stopping 26 or 27 shots. So that's another highlight, how close that shot count was. That is another interesting highlight, but you're like, no. Oh, come on! Come on! Find a highlight! Find a highlight! Find a highlight. Come on. Come on. Who got Oxford's goal? Hold on. Let me get up. Let me go back to it. Is that what you want to call your highlight? Yeah, right. He wants to call his highlight, he doesn't remember who got the goal. Shian D'Arcangelo responded with a tip-in goal midway through the 3rd period to equalise scores. That was going to be a highlight. Yeah. Oh my bloody god. Wow, that was like getting blood out of a stone. Blood out of a stone. That was there. Oh my lord. Right. Yeah, I think Quebec did well for this, for being on Takeover Tour. It's just, I still did a bit more convincing that Quebec could work full time. I know they're craving for having a major pro hockey team back after what's been 30 years now, but I still need just that little bit more convincing that it would work. But overall, I think it was a great game, a great atmosphere as well.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
So start 5 on the Takeover Tour was in Edmonton on February the 16th. And it was a battle of Ontario, the Toronto Scepters and the Ottawa Charge. This one went to overtime. 3-2 overtime win for the Scepters. So Daryl Watt scored her 2nd goal of the game to give the Toronto Scepters a 3-2 overtime victory over the Ottawa Charge in Broad Bay. So that crowd of 17,518 at Sunday's PWHL Takeover Tour game at Rogers Place in Edmonton. Yeah. There are a lot of players both sides from Edmonton. But I can just imagine. Oh, don't do not bring up Edmonton v Calgary. Don't do it, please. This came from the woman who now wants to throw Calgary into the mix for future expansion. Well, that's because we've learned that Calgary was involved heavily in centralisation for the Canadian teams over the years. So there you go. So Calgary's got a track record Makes sense now when you think about it. Honestly. Who says women's hockey's not educational? It really is. Yeah, but I'm talking about right now. Can you please not bring up Calgary beat Edmonton because we'll get complaints? Exactly. But I'm just saying, some Calgary fans were thinking, why did you pick Edmonton over us? Well, that would be vice versa. The roles were reversed. Right. Can we focus on the reason we're here today? That is highlights. So for me, I'll go Darryl Watts. There we go. I'm going to tell us my highlight. That overtime goal was quite a thing of beauty. Especially how it's a lot closer than I think you might have thought it would have been. The Scepters would have started to find their groove again. Ottawa being the inconsistent team that they are. So the fact that both sides were going to get a point out of it was I think, good for them. Not good overall standing terms for us, which we don't want teams to get points. Don't need to get points. But yeah, it was a really interesting. And it was interesting how Ottawa took the lead first. I think for me, you know, obviously a lot of Edmonton natives on this roster, and I think the fact that it was a very tight contest throughout. So the fact that Gary Hughes got the scoring opening first with Ottawa, that was really impressive goals. And I just don't think either side really had a dominance in this game. No, the lead kind of kept changing back and forth. It did. But no, neither side really got a footing. Teresa Arizona also played a huge role in that. So, little miss fight. Oh yes, because that was just this game was a few days before the first ever fight in the PWHL. That was the fight, but it is a fight. And Lady Mia done a video on that. You can go check that out on the podcast feed. Yeah. Which you weren't here for. No. Now, was the Pro told us to do it? Make it raw. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. But he has seen the footage. But, yeah, I told you to go and do that because obviously it was during the Four Nations, which, of course, I wasn't, no, yeah, of course, you were, I think I was out, you were out, you were busy, yeah, so that's why you said us two to do it, because you weren't there when it happened, right, yeah, that's fine now, remember now, yeah, but that's where you were, I think that, I think it's a highlight there, so, there you go, yeah, so we both got highlights there from both sides. Interesting how Edmonton managed to sort this out, because obviously, with what Vancouver did, that would have put the pressure on Edmonton to get the sellout. They managed it. I do think with Alberta, it's tricky because it kind of feels like you've got to put one in both rather than one or the other. I mean, Calgary, I think, right, if you're going to go for Alberta for a team, you'd go Calgary. Yeah. But in terms of what this was a Takeover Tour game, Edmonton kind of felt like a natural fit, yeah, given how both these sides had Edmonton natives on the rosters. Yeah. So it kind of, it's like, you know, it makes sense. Yeah. But right, so that was a really, yeah, and a really tight affair there. I got told of that. A really tight, what was I about to say? I was about to say tough or tight. It was a really tough and tight affair there. I'll use both of them. Neither side really gave it a footing. Yeah. Given how critical points are the PWHL with the 3-point system. Yeah. So a really tough night there. Yeah, and a really good. See, and that is what a Basketball Terrier should look like. That is what, look at it, shall take notes. That is what a Basketball Ontario should look like.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days long ago.
So the sixth stop on our tour was in Buffalo at the KeyBank Center. Yeah. It was a shootout victory for the Boston Fleet. The New York Sirens 3-2 fleet there. So Cesare Tapani scored the shootout winner as Boston came out victorious over New York in the sixth game of the PWHL Takeover Tour in Buffalo at KeyBank Center. Now, interesting was how, like the game in Seattle, Boston was put on the back foot from the get-go. And guess who did it? This is my highlight. Sarah Fillion. No, I knew someone was going to beat me to it. What do you get up to Paddy's winner? Okay. I just knew somebody was going to beat me to that. When we were watching it, I was like, that's going to be my highlight. But I thought, no, Wallen's going to beat me to it. And he did it. He did it. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, so... And it meant that Boston extended their winning streak to 4. Sirens' losing streak got extended to 7. So this was during the 9-game losing stretch that the Sirens had, which pretty much killed any chances they had of getting back into the playoff picture. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, right there. Pretty much. Right there. Yeah, so Sarah Fillion got the scoring started in the third. Oh, it's a beautiful girl. I know. Yeah. Yeah. So you thought, okay, are the Sirens finally gonna, have some life in this game? Are they gonna be able to finally snap? Because at the time it was going to that game. It was 6 on the round they lost. Yeah. He was wondering if they're gonna finally snap the losing streak and do it in a big statement against a team that could be considered contender to be in the playoffs. Yep. That was highlight. Yeah. I knew someone was gonna beat me to it. I know, it's like, what do we do now? Yes, what do we do now, lady? Yeah, so I think what was interesting, was how, and I think this might be my highlight, was how New York, they didn't go for Queen Schroeder. Boston's still with Frankel. Yeah. But with New York, and this is gonna be my highlight, they didn't go for Queen Schroeder, they put Kate Osborne in. Yeah. And yet she didn't do that badly. No, she I'll give you the stats for it. She stopped 30 shots in the loss, whereas Frankel 37 saves on 39 shots. So, shot count, quite close. Yeah, quite close, yeah. But that's going to be my highlight, because, Kate Osborne probably wouldn't get as many starts as she probably could, given how Sarah's got a start in running Queen Schroeder. So the fact she got that start, brilliant, and she didn't do too badly. No, she didn't actually do that too badly. No. Yeah, but I mean, my highlight is going to be, well, my second highlight, I should say that. So that's Pani getting that game winner. I mean, we know what a star player is like. Obviously, she was drafted by Minnesota in the inaugural draft back in 2023. But obviously then got traded to Boston during the beginning of last season. Yeah, but she is just slotted into Boston easily. That like how Sammy Jacobs managed to make a home for herself in Minnesota. They're placing up with Boston. So neither side last season won that trade. No. Neither side literally won that trade. It was pretty much a dead eat. But no, so it was really really great. And yeah, really jam-packed affair there. So there. And now the sides were a losing streak. You wouldn't blame them if they weren't able to find that offense and generate something. But no, they got the first goal. They actually got the scoring started. And you could argue, were they maybe going to run away with things? Were they going to maybe some control of the game? But obviously Boston, just keeps finding a way to come back in these games and find ways to get points. Boston loves playing from behind, because they just find ways to get points, and that's what's been successful. What was successful in the first half of 2025. How they were finding ways to get these points to put themselves back in the picture. And there's another one right there. Okay, it was an overtime. Sorry, it went to overtime, which means obviously you knew you were going to get the full 3. But you look at that and think, well, okay, maybe at that stage it was the end of February. 2 is probably better than 1. Or none. Nothing. Which could have been. No, but that was the highlight there. And so York didn't do that badly. York didn't do that badly. This Takeover Tour was kind of in the state that they're in. Because obviously Buffalo is in the state of New York, but so was it really a Takeover Tour game? Well, it kind of was, but I don't. We won't dwell on that too much. No, we won't dwell on that. We won't dwell on that too much.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days long ago.
Okay, so the 7th stop of the Takeover Tour was in Raleigh at the Lenovo Center. It used to be known as the PNC Arena, but they've now renamed it. That's why when the tour was announced, like, where's Lenovo Center? Like, oh, it's the Hurricanes ball. It's a little sneaky name change. Second one for our Frost, and we blanked the overcharge 5-0. The only shutout win for anybody on the tour. So, Manny Rooney backstopped the Minnesota Frost to a 5-0 shutout victory over the overcharge at Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. The game saw 10,782 fans attend PWHL Takeover Tour Raleigh, the 7th of 9 games of the tour. Now, lady, would you like to do the fans as your highlight? Because I think one of us has to do it. No, I think it should be you. Because you came close to tears. So I think it should be you. I'm going to go Rooney. Okay, right, yeah. For me, the Raleigh, I think, and this is no offense, and I don't mean to cause offense to the other 8 stops, but I think Raleigh had the best fans of the entire Takeover Tour, because they actually not just came out in force, but they literally picked a side. They literally picked a side. And it was our side. Because we haven't had a problem in these Takeover Tour games if the fans don't want to really pick a side or whether their boys decide it's fine. It's not easy to pick somebody who's not from your market. The fact you just can't, it's enough for us. But literally, from the moment that puck dropped, they had the horns blaring. They were literally chanting, "Let's go fast!" And we were like, "What? What?" Yeah, it was like, "Oh my, woo!" Bear in mind, this is about midnight our time in the UK. Yeah. So the game was played March the 7th in Raleigh, but because of the time difference, it's the early hours of the 8th of March here in the UK. So we were like, I was like, "Whoa!" It's like, oh my god. They were literally chanting our name. And then it was like, I had to stop myself from literally going into tears, because, oh my god, that just literally, that touched me. Now, I know they had only about 10,000 there, but it did not sound like 10,000. It sounded more than 10,000. Yeah, it sounded more than 10,000. So just, wow. So that for me is my highlight, and I'm getting emotional now thinking about it! Oh my god. Yeah, so Raleigh had the best bands of the whole Takeover Tour. Period. Period. I've even slapped my desk. That's how I'm putting the foot down. Period. So then you want to talk my room. Manny Room would be one of my highlights. She already had one shutout early in the season. That was the first ever franchise win in Montreal. And that's not easy to do against the Big 12. But full stop. Yeah. So But she got another one was just impressive. And I think, because I think this is the first meeting since that spanking, which Pluto likes to refer to it as. Yeah, Pluto, you seem to have this obsession now referring to massive losses of spanking. What is it? Well, we did get spanked. Yeah, but so I think this was the first time since then, so great to have that. And so, well, we can throw a lopsided score your way. There you go, Charge. Now you know what it feels like. Yeah, that was a really out of character night that was back in February. Yeah. Right, so the fact that she outed literally, can you make my instruction? I can do that. She stopped all 19 shots she faced. Wow. So they hardly put any shots on her at all. No. Well, the first period it was all us. That's bad. The first period was all us. And then it cried out in the second. Yeah, but in the second, we were good at shutting us down, but they weren't able to find ways to get on the board. And when you're down 3-0, you kind of need to generate momentum there in your favour. Yeah. Like just it was just brilliant for her to get that shutout win. It's brilliant, you know. And real compass boost, because I think we really needed that. We really needed that. So, what's your highlight? Well, I think it has to be that bizarre goal that Brooke McQuigg got, where she ended up basically, you know, being lying on her stomach. Oh yeah, there were quite a few bizarre goals in this game, and that was one of them. Yeah, that was just like. But what's the old saying? Doesn't matter how it goes in, as long as it's in. I think that's like what it is. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. Literally, it goes in from your stomach. That's got to hurt. No, like that. Like, ooh. No, that's gotta hurt. Well, it probably would, but hey, your team's up by multi-goal score. You take one for the team. I'm with you. I know. I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's say it all, lady. I'm with you. No. That's not taking one for the team. That's basically a hospital appointment. I'm with lady. I'm with lady. Yeah, I am with lady. No. But that's your highlight. Yeah. You've got a sick mind. Well, you don't really see those sort of goals get scored. So, I'm sparing. I know. I'm with you. The committed do not approve. I'm with you, lady. I am with you. I'm with you. But no, I'm just.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
So the 8th stop of the Takeover Tour was on March 16th, and it was a return to Detroit Little Caesars Arena, where the New York Sirens got their first win of the tour, and it came at the cost of our Minnesota Frost. 4-1 win for the Sirens. The New York Sirens cruised to a 4-1 victory over the Minnesota Frost on Sunday night as a record-breaking crowd at Detroit's Little Caesars Arena celebrated the league's 1 millionth fan milestone at PWHL Takeover Tour Detroit, the 8th of 9 stops through the tour. Yeah. Would you guys take that hurt though? I can. Okay. Yeah, because Do you realise that before the game? Because obviously you two were able to watch it live, I couldn't. No. It was during the first TV timeouts of the game. They came back. I was like, they were like, what? Yeah, it's like, sit, what? Hold on. Wait. Seriously? Yeah. It took us by surprise. Yeah. And of course, we have done a very special burst episode covering that milestone. Go check that out yourselves. But no, it took us by surprise. We were not expecting that. So somebody at that game was the 1 millionth fan in attendance at the PWHL. Find that person. Yeah, find that person. I wonder who that is. Find that person. Yeah, get them on Jocks and Jills. Yeah, that is just crazy. What a huge milestone. And I'm so glad it happened on a new start game rather than being one of the actual Inaugural Six markets, so that nobody gets bragging rights. It will happen one day. I know, right? So, but yeah, just that was crazy. I'll get my heart out of the way, and I know I should not be praising my opponents, but that first goal the Sirens got, which was the equaliser, it was it kind of like a pinball machine. Do those exist? Pinball machines? Do they still exist, or am I really showing my age? I think I'm really showing my age. But that first goal, well, look who got it for the Sirens. So I'll cover arse. Okay, that's my hat. So yeah, so it was Jamie Bourbones. It was bizarre. It was kind of like a pinball machine, and no way was Nicole able to make that stop. But it was just a bizarre sequence. But for me, that stood out amongst the rest. So if I got to mention some one of the Sirens goals, that was the one that stood out. Yeah, that's the me just stood out the most. Whereas new, it's Grace Sunwinkle, and just like I put a mention earlier with Denver Sophie Jakes, that was her first goal back from injury, and she'd been out for quite some time because of the injury. Yeah, and it was also on a power play. It was one of those bizarre moments where a penalty gets called during a TV timeout. You come back, you realise, all you see is a power play. What happened there? Yeah. So, and then score a minute after. Yeah, so that for me was my highlight. Because she was literally this time last year. She was Rookie of the Year last year. She was. She was Rookie of the Year last year. Yeah. And the injury pretty much knocked her for sixes. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it pretty much knocked her for sixes. So for her to get that goal, brilliant. Especially how the Frost power play. It's not something we can really be proud about because it doesn't really fire on all cylinders. Neither the Pentacle either. But the power play, you just think, when is this gonna get cooking? You know, when are we gonna get something going on the power play here? And so to get that goal was, I think, huge. Yeah, not just about her, but also the team. It also helps our power play statistics go up. That's a bonus anytime that can happen. Yeah, literally any time like this, just a huge bonus. Yeah, huge bonus. Yeah, but yeah. But unfortunately, once the Sirens took that lead, they never looked back, and it did get quite harder and harder for us to try and, you know, generate something and just get something going and try and find our way back. It was a tour, and it did kind of then drag a bit, didn't it, lady? Yeah, it did. It did. It did.
Sometimes I get to thinking I was back in the old days, long ago.
And so the ninth and final stop of the tour was in St. Louis at the Enterprise Center on March 29. The yacht will charge the Boston Fleet, and the Charge got their one only victory on the tour in this game. It was a 2-1 result. Oh, I mean, it's going to be a struggle for Pluto to get a memory. No. Oh! Oh, you've got one this time. Okay, well, we'll get in a minute. Teresa Baezoba's 2 goals within 32 seconds apart. That was the memory. Well, hold it for a minute. So, yeah, hold it for a moment. So Teresa Baezoba's 2 goals within 32 seconds late in the third period powered the Ottawa Charge past the Boston Fleet on Saturday afternoon during the final stop of the PWHL Takeover Tour at Enterprise Centre in St. Louis. Go on, Pluto. You can start then. Well, it's really interesting, you know, because this was a very, you know, close game, really tight affair, not much into it. Boston controlled it most of the game. It was about, what, I think, 4 minutes left to go. And interesting, you know, despite the fact Boston had numerous power opportunities, couldn't convert them, Ottawa, the game winner on a power play. Yeah. And just, you know, all you had to do was like maybe hold on for 4 more minutes and you would have got those 3 regulation points, which meant a complete difference. It might have changed everything. Yeah. But that was just, wow. I mean, it was big for an eye. I know. We have had quite a few quick goals scored in the PWHL this year, particularly even with our Frost time. I think there was one game where we scored goals in like maybe 41 seconds apart, I think was something like that. Yeah. We have seen some quick goals, but yeah, that was like, blink and you miss it. Yeah, but Boston's power play was really weak in that game. So yeah, I think they had at least 5, maybe more opportunities to get them back in there. But for me, the highlight I've got is actually from Boston. It was Sutata Pani. Getting the lone goal for Boston again. And she scored quite early in the game. Boston opened the score very quickly. And yeah, after that, struggled to find their way in the game and just couldn't find a way to close it out. But which was a real but Sutata Pani, she's just been brilliant for them. Yeah, since she was traded to Boston last season from Minnesota. She's done that brilliantly. So there you go, what's your highlight? Well, you both got one on each side, and so the question is, am I going to side with you or my partner? I'm going to side with my partner, my memories from Ottawa. Okay. And that's where it fits. No. But can you find out how many saves she made? I can do that. Yeah, she's been really impressive. Yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like Ottawa now, they're like us in the Big 12. They've not got a backup at the starter, they've got a 1A and a 1B. Yeah. Absolutely. Because obviously they rely heavily on this Mashmire, but obviously she's been injured. Webber's had to step up to the plate, and Rennie has delivered, not just with the Charge, but also the World Champions as well. Yeah. Had to come relief in a frag that game as well. Yeah. In Czech, yeah. Yeah, just a few weeks ago. Yeah, so Gwyneth Phillips made 27 saves on 28 shots. Impressive. Absolutely impressive. That is her 5th career win between the pipes for Ottawa. Impressive. So, and she hardly lets many goals in. It's very hard to get like 3 or 4 past Phillips right now. That's going to be really interesting when we get to the postseason. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the heart for me. She was my heart in that game. Yeah, and she's proved to be quite a surprise in the PWHL. You know, had to step in for errors, Mathmeyer. Right. Before that, people have seen her face like a backup netminder. Yeah. But no, she absolutely is the 1B. Oh, yeah. I think that's what we're seeing a lot with the PWHL in terms of these tandems. A lot of teams have got like a 1A and a 1B. Because that's how our tandem's seen with Maddie Ring, because it's 1A, 1B. You can also argue the Big 12 that as well, Elaine Chuli and Renee Desbienne. Yeah. Good luck trying to call who's 1A, 1B in that one. Well, the rest sort of happened. Now, and I think, I agree with you, Osman now definitely is one of those teams that now in terms of Netmeyer's got a 1A and a 1B. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the highlight for me in that game. Yeah. It's crazy how, literally, this game felt like a snooze fest. Yeah. It actually felt like a snooze fest, whereas the Big 12 Charge T1 result in Quebec, that didn't feel like a snooze fest. No, because that was tied early on. Yeah. Whereas Boston got the first goal early the first, and then it was nothing until literally like 4 minutes before the end of the second period. Can I say one thing about power plays? What shocked me about Boston was I believe they had an opportunity to go for the extra tackle on the power play towards the end of the period. They did. They got a late power play they didn't pour Franco. Risk it. I always say risk it. Risk it for that biscuit. I don't have a problem if teams, they go to gamble, it backfires. At least you went for the gamble. At least you try to push for those points rather than not take the risk at all. Yeah. Right. But yeah, I just felt... Yeah. Yeah. That kind of... Teresa Mazzo kind of woke us all up in a way. Oh, wow. She can't... It did, because I just felt... It was a bit of a snooze fest, and then those two quick goals, like, oh, we're all working up. Yeah. What a thrilling way to end the tour. And of course the pressure was on Arwa because they hadn't got a win yet. They did not. Yet they had. Yet they played like the Big 12 played 4 games in the tour. And for Arwa this is their last chance to get a win, and they got it in quite stunning, very stunning fashion. Right, so just before we sign off, I'm just going to go through some of the numbers that the PHL published not long after the Takeover Tour, just to put it in even more context. So, across the 9 stops, 123,601 people attended the Takeover Tour. So we had 2 US professional women's hockey attendance records broken. That was in Denver and Detroit. 80 estimated percent of attendees who experienced their first ever PWHL game. 1,296 bottles of Gatorade consumed by players. I'm going to the big numbers for the end. 78 approximate percent of attendees that visited the host venue for the first time. Woo! That's a shock, given how 8 of these were AHL arenas. So, okay. 945 girls hockey players who participated in skills clicks. 1,400 fans who collected autographs during event-related signings. Ooh. The 2 big numbers finish off. 16,000 pieces of PHL gear, including jerseys, hoodies, crews, tees, hats, and pucks purchased by fans in venue. Now that will just make us feel jealous, because obviously we UK fans can't buy merchandise. Get on that thing. I will be when we get back from Philly. And the final one, 19,038. That, of course, is the highest attendance for the Takeover Tour. Vancouver attendance in one of the 4 tours, 3 sold out games. The other will be Quebec and Edmonton. Yeah. So 90,038, that was the highest attendance in the tour. And if you want to know the full breaks, I don't think we did break the full, not all of them. If you want to look at the full breakdown of all the attendance on the Takeover Tour, you can go on my official Instagram account. I did a post where I listed all the attendance for all 9 stops. So it is up there on my official Instagram account. My handle is @Georgetown Music. So if you want to find out the full breakdown of each stop's attendance, you can go do it on my official Instagram. But these numbers just impressive. Yeah, absolutely impressive. And so there you have it. That is a little look back on the Takeover Tour. We just picked some more highlights there. I didn't really give you two a chance to speak intro, did I? Yeah. No, just like, but you were kind of just walking across the show. We were just like waiting to get started. Get your highlights ready. Yeah. So I'll let you two have the final words. What to make this tour? Just a brilliant idea, you know, to go from the Takeover weekend we had last year with just Detroit and Pittsburgh, and to now do a full-blown tour was just brilliant, and it's just such a huge highlight for the PHL this year, you know, and it just showed, you know, there is interest in this league outside the Inaugural Six market. You just got to take it out there, and they'll come. Yep. If you put it on, they'll come. Yeah, that's it. And I think it'd be interesting to see, do we do it again? Well, there's still lots of other markets you could go out there. Yeah. Could we do it again? I think we could. Yeah. I think we could. Yeah. Or you could maybe do next year, you could maybe do a mixture of new markets and maybe return to something that did really well, like say Denver, for example, maybe in Raleigh. Yeah. Yeah. But this was a huge milestone for the PHL, and it's one winner on the go. Oh, this was a huge... I think the Takeover Tour has got to be the highlight for year 2. When we look back on it in the summer, that would be the highlight from this year's season. It would be not Who Would Water Cut, it would be the Takeover Tour, because it literally outshone. We had 123,000 people that were attended a Takeover Tour game, so it was just amazing. It was just thrilling, and such a very special moment for the PHL, and a huge success. So yeah, so guys, it was a pleasure to relive it all, and we will see you on the next one. So until then, see you real soon, and also say bye bye.